Tonight's program is sponsored by EKSTER. Keep watching to see how you can save 15% on your next luxury smart wallet.
There is a game whose recent popularity has driven it into a genre that has only sprung up in recent years. In the never-ending hellscape of indie horror games copying the same formula, this weird game in the farthest corner of the gaming marketplace is no different. Except in one way. The game isn't played with controls and objectives. It is played with ciphers, codes, and the ability to break a video game literally bit by bit. It is an indie game with an atmosphere of true crime baked into the codes that tie the bad design and dead pixels together. Tonight, we are deep diving into the secrets of Andy's Apple Farm. In 2021, an itch.io page was launched, promoting an indie horror game called Andy's Apple Farm. With one glance at the page, I believe most people knew what they were getting into. It's quite obvious the inspiration for the art and premise comes from Walton Files, with the Bunny Smiles video game, Bunny Farm. Just from the outside, I could see what was going to be in this game. Jump scares, facial distortions, loud noises. It's no different than any other project we've seen in this genre. However, my first playthrough left me wondering how much was hidden behind the screen of the game. In a blind playthrough without trying to find secrets, you maybe play 30% of the actual game and are given a story that is a cryptic, jumbled mess. But with the help of some forums, I was able to dig deeper, taking me a total of 4 playthroughs to fully complete this game. And that is just the beginning. Because Andy's Apple Farm is more than just a unique horror game, but we'll get to that later. Let's take this nice and slow and try to unravel the complex web of secrets within Andy's Apple Farm. Opening the game for the first time will bring you to a settings menu for the game with the options graphics mode and subtitles. If you wish to attempt this game for yourself, I would suggest going for low graphics as the game will run slightly smoother. Anyway, that's not why our first stop on this confusing journey is in the settings. Hidden in the darkness is an image that with some brightness correction shows us this. A distorted version of the title character staring back at us. With settings in place, our menu will bring us to 2 save files. One is new, and the other is someone else's game. When we click on the already used file, nothing happens unless you repeatedly click on that file. Doing so will make your game crash, but not before showing you this Windows error blue screen. If you are like me, you might have thought this was your actual computer, but it isn't. This is an image the game has programmed for us to see, which only becomes more clear by the QR code. Following that code will take us back to the itch.io page for the game. But there is one more secret on our fake error screen. Again, after adjusting the brightness, a new face is revealed to us. This haunting face belongs to our video game's developer, Thomas Eastwood. We know this name because when we start a new save, Thomas introduces himself at the beginning and tells us that we are beta testers looking for glitches and bugs in our playthrough. We are also given a year, 1983. This will help us establish our timeline later on, but for now, let's hear what Thomas has to say.
Hello, this is Eastwood, Thomas Eastwood. If you're hearing this, welcome to the beta test of Andy's Apple Farm. As a beta tester, your goal is to find bugs and glitches and report them to me. I am fully aware the game is not finished. However, I will update the game as time goes on. Thank you, beta tester.
When our game starts, we play as the title character Andy, as he meets his friends Klaus, Felix, Margaret, and Melody. Andy is told by his friends that they stole his keys, and to get them back, he will have to play a game with each of them. However, Klaus's minigame cannot be started until the other 3 games are played, but each minigame does come with at least a secret visual during the game, and a block of text will appear after completing each one. But here is the big catch. Each one of these secrets and texts will only be revealed depending on which minigame you play first, which is why it took me multiple playthroughs to truly beat the entire game. But let's start with the secret messages since they are the easiest to obtain. If you play Felix's minigame first, then once you have completed the game, walking back to the picnic tables will cause this block of text to appear on the screen. He drowned that day, at the bottom of the lake. She didn't save him. It's not her fault. It's not her fault. If you play Margaret's game first and return to the picnic tables, you will get this block of text. The times were supposed to be happy, but she could feel her skin peeling off. If you play Melody's game first, you will get this message. She's not gone. She's still here. She wants you to free us. Please free us. Please free us. After we receive these secret messages, the game will crash again, resulting in this image telling us to restart the game. At this point, we can guess that there is something hidden in this crash screen, and we would be right. If we stay at this screen for long enough, audio will fade in, but unlike anything we have heard so far in the game, this long audio clip has different parts to it. The first is clearly a car driving. The second is the sound of someone walking through snow. The third is the sound of a distant conversation. For continuity's sake, I will let you in and tell you that this is a conversation taking place inside of a house. The fourth is the sound of someone typing on a computer and executing a command line. The fifth is the sound of a liquid being thrown and splashing onto the floor. We can assume this liquid is gasoline because in the same clip we hear a lighter striking. The sixth is the sound of footsteps in the snow again, except this time they are almost running through it. The last bits of audio we get are the sounds of crackling fire. Obviously, this doesn't all make a lot of sense right now, but it will here in a little bit. With those out of the way, let's move on to the secrets we can find within the minigames. Let's start with Felix the Fish's game because I think it's probably the most fucked out of the four. When we approach Felix, he will ask us to go fishing. If you decline to help, the game has an interesting way of making you play.
I don't think you heard me right.
Well, there is nothing more uncanny than seeing realistic human eyes stare from behind the drawing of a cartoon. And again, this is something we will see often for a reason. But since we are forced to play his game, the task is quite simple. Catch fish, but avoid the boots. After we catch 3 fish, the lake will go empty, and we can see a human body laying at the bottom. This event in the game has 2 possible ways of playing out. The first way is that you hook the body and reel it back to the surface in a normal way. When you do this, the game rewards us with the audio of a newscast reporting on an incident that happened at that lake.
A search is underway for a child who fell off a rowboat and never resurfaced Thursday evening. According to the Pumpkin County Sheriff's Office, deputies responded to the scene yesterday, October 14th. The victim, a 10-year-old male, and his sister fell off a rowboat late at night. The girl returned home safely, however, the young boy has not been found as of yet.
Before we tackle this first big clue to the story, let's try a different way to catch the dead body. If you hook it and then drag the body across the floor of the lake, then we get a loud jump scare encounter, so brace yourself. But it wasn't her fault. So we have been shown the sister of the boy who drowned in the lake. However, it seems that it literally wasn't her fault because some dark entity was in the boat with her, perhaps even forcing her to push her brother out of the boat. But that's all we get from Felix's game, and you can probably guess where this is going. Let's go ahead and move on to Margaret's minigame because I think it will start putting the story into perspective. This game is even more simple as we just put the assorted fruits into the correct baskets. But we're going to say fuck that to the game and instead move our cursor top right and break it off the screen, giving us another ear rape scare and this cutscene. You know exactly what you did. The binary code is unfinished, but we are also shown a real-life photo of a woman with a censor bar over her eyes. Then this leads to a family photo taken on Christmas Eve of 1981. With this photo, we can start matching these characters up. The girl on the boat is clearly the same as the older sister in this photo, and she has a little brother. We don't know the mother yet, but perhaps we can make a guess of who the father is. But let's keep moving and you can assume for yourself. We then get a message saying, but that would be the last Christmas we'd spend together. Our background music in the photo distorts to say the photo is now in 1982, and it seems that the entire family is dead now. The next secret in Margaret's game comes after you finish the task. While she is thanking you, if you wildly spam the space key, it will trigger this jump scare and cutscene.
Thank you so much for helping me out, Andy. For all your help, Outlining 5.
You're acting like nothing even happened. Do you even care about what happened? You've got to be kidding me. It wasn't her fault. It was an accident that was out of our control. Out of our control, yes, but hers? She was right there. Why didn't she save him? She was scared, Thomas. You cannot blame her for that. Why not? Shut up. Just shut the hell up. I'm not going to let you blame her over an accident. Get out. Just leave, Thomas. Just go to a bar and drink or something. You're good at that. After that, the woman avatar turns into Margaret and the game returns to normal. So hopefully all of you assumed the obvious, which was that Thomas Eastwood is the father in the family photo, which this cutscene just confirmed to us. But let's move on to Melody's game and the secrets we can find with her. The cutscene for this game doesn't require you to break anything, just complete the game and the cutscene will play. We find Andy on a snowy night outside a house. When we walk up to the windows, we see that it is Christmas and Andy eavesdrops on the mother and daughter characters we saw before in the living room. Isabella, what's wrong? It's just not the same. It's not the same without them. Hey, it's not your fault. No, I know it's my fault. Everything is my fault. No, it's not, Bella. I'm the reason Dad left. I'm the reason Lewis is gone. I just want our family back together. But things are out of my control. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Afterwards, if we walk into the house will change and look destroyed. Waiting a few seconds will trigger this cutscene. I doubt you need me to explain what that showed, but we aren't done yet. If we walk back across the snowy map, we can find a hidden car. Interacting with it will play a recording made by Thomas Eastwood on April 13th, 1982. Let's take a listen.
Hey, is this thing on? Cool. Hey Cam, you wanna see this? She seems busy. Anyways, I've been experimenting with a lot of cool technology recently. A lot of the video games I've been putting together haven't really been accepted by a lot of the publishers, so I was like, I need to do something really cool with this next one. So here's the first version of the new game I'm working on. I'm calling it Apple Acres for now, but I'm still working on the title. This game features all sorts of new technology that I've been working on. It has something called a cinema screen type monitor, so I feel like it'd be more immersive like movies. And on top of that, I've even allocated a lot of memory to adding fully cartoon characters during cutscenes. There's no way this one can't do well. Can't afford to have another flop. I've also been thinking about some other types of technology to make the characters a bit more lifelike. I don't know. It's not very...
Oh wow, you're good at playing the guitar. Here's a bonus sticker for all your hard work.
New technology, more lifelike characters. That's definitely not a recipe for disaster we have witnessed before. But we'll explore this new technology in a little bit. Our last cutscenes come from the Klaus minigame. Klaus will have us play I Spy. Our first secret can be found by breaking the cursor out of bounds on the bottom right. Once it breaks out of the frame, this happens.
Deceased.
We see the phrase, "I'm sorry, please stop," before a cutscene is shown to us. We know the man on the left is Thomas, but the man he is talking to is a new character named Arthur. Hey, Arthur. Yeah, man, what's up? Have you been checking up on them like you said? Of course. Well, how are they doing? They're doing great. They're just getting ready for Christmas. I miss Christmas. It was always his favorite. Well, anyways, you haven't been hanging too close to Cameron, right? Of course not. Why would you think that? You know me, I just worried too much. I wouldn't want to be best friends with a liar, right? You're not a liar, right? You're not a liar, right? Our second secret happens after we play the game, and then click on Klaus's avatar.
Yes, that's it. I spy with my little eye something.
Cease.
We then get a playable cutscene where Klaus is by our burned down house from earlier before he is chased by an axe-wielding version of Andy. Then we get this final cutscene where Andy and Klaus are replaced by Thomas and Arthur. Where are they, Arthur? I don't know. Put down the axe. What are you doing? I am sick and tired of you lying to me. Wait, Thomas, stop. You killed them. Oh my god, what have I done? Before we push further into the game, there is one more secret that can be found by the picnic tables. By the lower left woods, we are taken to a black void. When walking to the left, we pass distorted versions of the game's characters until Andy stumbles upon this cutscene. This is the sister we saw earlier after her brother drowned in the lake, crying by the boat. When we walk up to interact with her, she speaks to us. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It's all my fault. What are Mom and Dad going to say? I'm sorry, Lewis. I'm sorry I couldn't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We then get an image of water and a picture of her little brother Lewis. In the background, we hear a distorted audio clip. If we dissect the audio by reversing it and slowing it down, it reveals a code for us to break. 4C6F756973. Now, after writing the rest of this script, I have attempted to try and break this with a couple different cipher codes, but unfortunately it hasn't turned out into anything. But if you are able to solve it, then please let us know down in the comments. After completing the minigames, Andy's friends tell him that his keys are in the terrifying barn. When Andy goes in, his friends close the door behind him and a new game starts. Walking around the dark barn will give you several secret encounters before continuing the game. But we're going to have to add another fucking hour to the playthrough because only one secret encounter can be found per run of the whole game. So please pray for my sanity at this point. The first is hidden on the second floor and to the bottom right exit. When we walk through it, we get a photo and death of Arthur King, December 24th, 1982. We also get a brief shot of the Klaus character, which probably means Arthur and Klaus are related. If we go to the lower right exit, we get a picture of Cameron Eastwood, the wife of Thomas, who also died on December 24th, 1982. We then get a flash of a Christmas tree, which will make more sense later. If we go to the middle right exit, we get a picture of Thomas Eastwood, and his date of death is March 17th, 1983, unlike the others. But the creepiest of these interactions happens when we go through the upper left exit, where we meet Louis Eastwood, the boy who drowned in the lake. Despite the visual horror, we notice that Louis is not reported as dead. He's missing. There is one more secret left, and it's in the lower left exit. When walking through it, we get an ad for an old game system developed by Thomas Eastwood's company. Introducing the Eastwood Games Cinema Screen Monitor Portable Computer. This portable computer has a wider screen than the standard monitor. It also has a lot of power to run all sorts of fun games. The Cinema Screen Monitor Portable Computer comes with the computer, a keyboard, as well as a brand new game, Andy's Apple Farm, bundled with the package to display the device's powerful hardware and display performance. Now we do have enough clues to tie this story together, but there is one last level to this game, and one more character we haven't met yet. If we escape the barn, we soon run into a new character named Peter Pumpkin, who also wants to play a game with us in the corn maze on the farm. The game is simply tag, but whether you win or lose will give you 2 different cutscenes and dialogues. If we tag Peter, then we get this string of text.
Me! Good job!
I just wanted to see my family again. I knew what I was doing was risky. I didn't want it to turn out this way. Free us. Help us. However, if we let Peter catch all the pumpkins before we tag him, then we get this very creepy sequence. I can see it. It's been following me. I think it's watching me. But it doesn't have eyes. Now it's our turn to run from Peter, but this part of the game takes place in near darkness as we try to collect all the pumpkins. Now it doesn't matter if you get all of them or not, the ending of the game will be the same.
Caught you.
we are given our final cutscene of Thomas in the barn, where this mysterious entity that had kept popping up through the game reveals itself. Thomas is blown to bits and a pair of Andy's eyes appear in his place. Then Andy finds his keys and the game gives us our final message. I should have known. What I got myself into. It's my fault. You on the other side, you can help me. You can save me, you can save us. Then we get a final set of two demonic eyes staring at us from the darkness before several images of all of our characters flash upon the screen before the game ends. Now I know all of you are eager to get to the story of the game so far, but the rabbit hole does go a bit deeper. You see, there's a DLC for this game that was released in December of last year, and is centered around a holiday special for this game. And we can't ignore it if we want to truly put the entire story together. This additional content is canon to the story and introduces more lore that's hidden behind the game. So let's dive into it.
Storm's rolling in soon.
Another gloomy Sunday. What you got for me, bae?
Remember that visit I made to the Valley Theater a couple months ago?
Yeah, it turned out to be some YouTube bullshit, right?
I thought so too before we found that kid Austin floating dead in the Haw Creek River.
Come on, bae. That kid was known to hike those trails. He stumbled off a cliff and knocked himself in the river. Simple as that.
Then explain this.
A wallet? Did it have an ID?
No ID, but I found it up the river on a sand dune.
I don't have time for you to waste, officer. Got enough problems with that Richard Carbine always calling me about his brother.
It's not just any wallet, it's an EKSTER wallet, with the tracker card that makes it easy to find your wallet anywhere in the world with your phone.
Officer!
And it has RFID protection, so hackers couldn't steal any personal information from the owner's cards.
Did it have any cards in it?
Easy to find out with the inner mechanism in the wallet. With a push of a button, all the owner's cards are available to him with ease, and once he's done, he can push them back into the wallet.
Well, damn, I'm gonna have to find me one of those wallets when I get home. EKSTER, that's the brand, right?
Detective, the new owner of the Valley made a YouTube video with an ad read for EKSTER wallets. This isn't some wallet you can find at the store. This is a luxury device that only few will have the privilege to carry. It has to be his.
So the owner likes to take walks in the woods. That isn't anything, even if this is his wallet.
Don't you think it's worth even investigating? Hell, I didn't even get a warrant to look around the theater that closely. Not to mention that Austin kid was volunteering at the Valley the morning before he disappeared.
You got a point, officer. Maybe you should get that warrant and pay the owner another visit. Now, if you excuse me, I'm now officially off the clock and I'm gonna go buy myself a new EKSTER wallet.
Remember, you get 15% off your order if you buy one before April 12th.
Now, how the hell do you know that?
It was in that video's ad read. Viewers can use the link in the description to tell the people at EKSTER that Pagan Valley sent them to receive the discount.
This suspicion you have, officer, it isn't turning into an obsession now, is it?
No, detective. At least not yet.
When the DLC is downloaded, it begins like the base game did, with Thomas Eastwood explaining what we are here to do for the game.
Hello, this is Eastwood again. What you're about to play is a version of Andy's Apple Farm that was supposed to be unlocked via the CSNPC's internal clock system from December 15th to December 31st. This version of the game is sort of a Christmas special with an all-new story. I was never really big on Christmas. You might be, though. Some people are just more geared to the holidays, I guess. I know my son Lewis is for sure. That little guy begs me to put up a Christmas tree come November 1st. Love that little man. Enough about my blabbering, though. Enjoy this short Christmas special of Andy's Apple Farm. And, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and all that.
Our introduction to our characters isn't free of some secrets and begins with a drawing of the characters' home. 2 jump scares will occur and a familiar face will appear by the end of the scene.
Hello, friend. I'm Andy the Apple. Wow, it's already the holidays. I can't wait to spend it with all my friends.
Hey, Andy, happy holidays! I brought apple cookie mix.
I brought some presents.
I'm just here, man.
Well, maybe you can help me hang the stockings.
Why would I want to hang a sock?
I've even got a present for you, Andy. Oh wow, what is it?
That would break the surprise, would it not?
Wait, haven't you...
Andy, you could help me make some cookies.
Okay, whatever you guys say. Let's have a nice holiday.
If we look closely, this is clearly the face of Thomas's wife Cameron, who also died on Christmas Eve in 1982. The next jump scare is a distorted face of Andy staring at us before a text appears saying, "Let me out." So after that nightmare, we can start playing some new mini-games with our characters. Let's start with Margaret. Her game is definitely the easiest we have seen so far. All we have to do is wait for the timer to go off and take something out of the oven for Margaret. Which leads us to our first breaking of this DLC. Quite a simple one too. All we have to do is not take the food out of the oven, which will lead to this.
Okay, you can take them out of the oven.
Okay, you can take them out of the oven. Okay, you can take them out of the oven. The oven, 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 the oven.
I'm sorry, Lewis. I'm sorry I couldn't save you. I felt something was holding me back. Huh? What's that smell? So what did this secret try to tell us? Well, we've seen this house fire before, and we know Thomas's wife was killed in it, which we saw with her burnt face distorting, and that house fire was caused by the Christmas tree falling over into the fireplace, which explains why when we saw Cameron's photo in the base game, we got a flash of a Christmas tree. But also Thomas's daughter left as the house went up in flames. Isabella, the sister who unintentionally drowned her brother Lewis, is still alive, and I'm willing to bet that this entity that we have seen appear over and over again had a hand in killing Cameron and Lewis. Our next secret can be found directly after this minigame by walking Andy out of the house at the bottom of the map. Once outside, if we walk Andy out of the frame, the house will reset and now the Margaret character is no longer blocking the front door, which if we walk through will reveal to us another cutscene. I'm so sorry, Isabella. It was never your fault. I was being a dumbass. Hopefully a present will help a little. This whole scene must have occurred before Arthur's death in the base game, with Thomas returning to his home to find it burnt down and Arthur standing outside, which all leads to this scene we saw of Thomas killing Arthur under the influence of the entity. With that, we are now ready to tackle the ending of the holiday special, which has two endings depending on how you play the rest of the game out. After helping all the characters, the cast open up their gifts around the tree. None of them are really interesting except for Felix's gift, a boot, which is a reference to the base game where we had to avoid the boots while fishing. However, Andy's gift is something that caught me off guard.
Finally be able to tell the time.
I've got a boot.
What did you get, Andy?
Yes, show us what you got.
Go ahead, open your present.
Before we go further, we can speculate who this moaning, rotting head belongs to. It could be any of the victims we've seen, but I think that this is Thomas, which in the base game we know was killed by the entity. This is backed up when the cutscene continues and Andy is met by Peter Pumpkin, a character that we can guess is in the shadow of this entity we've seen before. In a dialogue exchange between the two, Peter is clearly trying to hide something from Andy and tells him to stop asking questions before offering a new game to play.
Wait, guys, what is this? Guys, where'd you go? Hello?
Hello again.
Wait, why are you back?
You need to stop asking so many questions. Let's play a game.
No, stop! You're scaring me.
It's called
Wait, no, stop!
You've done this before, in the same place he went missing.
No, you're wrong. It was him.
Don't try and blame me now. You are fully aware of who is at fault here.
After that, we can walk Andy up to each of the characters we have seen in the game, and this reveals to us what I bet most of you have already guessed. Each character in the game resembles a victim of the tragedy caused by Thomas. The distortions we have seen throughout are their souls trapped inside the video game, with dialogue constantly saying things like, "Let me out." Felix is Lewis, Margaret is Cameron, Klaus is Arthur, Melody is Isabella, and Andy is Thomas. But there is a sixth character we have never met yet, a B-girl that when we walk up to shows us another picture of a woman, unnamed and unknown to us for right now, but we'll come back to her later. Following this, we enter the last game set up by Peter Pumpkin and the entity. We are back in the corn maze being chased by Peter, but this time he transforms into his true appearance as the entity. As we are chased, we can achieve two endings. The first is to simply get caught, which will result in this cutscene.
Caught you.
She saw you, Thomas. She saw what you did. This ending reveals a terrible secret that we didn't know about. We saw Isabella escape the house fire. She hid and watched her own father murder Arthur with the axe. She's not dead despite her connection to the Melody character in the game. She's a living witness to the actions of her father and this entity. Now, I kinda lied earlier about the minigames. There is another secret that is found when completing Felix's stalking game, but didn't have any relevance until this point. But when we beat his minigame, we are given drawings made by a young Isabella, showing that she likes to spy on her father Thomas, and she had documented her father's change as the entity consumed him. He literally put his soul into the Andy's Apple Farm game. Now I get to play through the whole game again, so just give me 1 second. Alright, now back in the corn maze, the second ending can be achieved by avoiding Peter Pumpkin and running up the map, where Andy approaches a house's front door. Once entered, a new ending plays. I'm sorry, Arthur. I'm not gonna let you die like this. I will bring you back. The same way I brought back Lewis. With that, our game finally ends. For now. There is an announced Chapter 2 planned for Andy's Apple Farm where the story continues. But for now, let's try to put this puzzle together. Our story begins with the Eastwood family in 1981. Thomas is a struggling game developer who can't seem to make a hit video game. He has a wife, Cameron, 2 children, Isabella and Lewis, and a best friend named Arthur. Thomas, desperate to make a hit game, invested in new technology that would make his games more lifelike. We know that this technology was actually a deal he made with this demonic entity. After the deal was made, the entity took its first victim by possessing Isabella to push her little brother Lewis into the lake, drowning him. The death of Lewis took a toll on the whole family. Thomas was separated by his wife Cameron, and leading up to this separation, Isabella would spy on her father during work, where Thomas would make a deal with this demon to bring his son Lewis back to life, by way of putting his soul into the game. As time passed, Thomas's best friend Arthur would help take care of the family until he started a secret relationship with Thomas's ex. This brings us to Christmas Eve of 1982. Thomas was to visit his family and bring them gifts, only to find that the house was burnt down. This house fire was caused by a Christmas tree falling into the fireplace, which would kill Cameron. But earlier we heard audio of gasoline being thrown on the ground, followed by the sound of a lighter. Someone under the influence of the demon entity poured that gas around the house to make it burn faster. There is only 2 options. The first would be Thomas, which would have poured the gas without knowing it before leaving to buy presents and returning home. It's a stretch, but not totally impossible. The second would be Arthur, who was found by Thomas outside the home when he returned. It is possible that Arthur also was possessed by the demon like Isabella had, which would explain why when Thomas questions him at the scene, Arthur has no memory of what he had done. During this fire, Thomas's daughter Isabella would escape into the woods, where she witnessed her father kill his friend Arthur. What she doesn't know is that Thomas is again under the possession of the entity when he murders Arthur. When coming to, Thomas does the same thing he did to his son Louis, by putting his best friend's soul into the video game. After this, we can assume he did the same thing to his wife once learning she died in the fire. Isabella has escaped the grasp of this demon, but believes her father to be a murderer, so she runs away. Thomas, with no one left, is confronted by this entity who has only gotten stronger with each new body sacrificed until it can take its true form, trapping his soul into the video game. Behind the screen of Andy's apple farm are the trapped souls of the Eastwood family, playing characters that represent them, except for two. Peter Pumpkin is the friendly manifestation of the demon which chases Andy, otherwise known as Thomas, at the end of the holiday special. Peter watches over the game and keeps the characters from remembering their true identities, much like a warden at a prison. Lastly, there is another character in this story we have been shown, but until new chapters come out, we don't know who this is yet. And that's everything so far within this video game to cover. Now we get to enter the very bottom of this elaborate rabbit hole, a twist I wasn't expecting. Andy's Apple Farm is more than just a horror game filled with secrets. It is a full alternate reality game, or ARG. I'll save you the explanation of what that is for now, but there are some secret paths that add more to this story. Let's start with the itch.io page. We were told by the game to follow the QR code when the game first crashed at the beginning of this. Digging into the website reveals a couple secrets. First, the developer of Andy's Apple Farm, the actual developers, not Thomas, is M36 Games, who has a YouTube channel featuring test animations of characters from the game. There is also a Valentine's Day episode which basically is just the entity tormenting Thomas from within the game as he is in the form of Andy, but there isn't anything really hidden. The real secrets on their channel can be found in two videos, the Sprite Tests. Just in case you aren't a game developer, a sprite has an interesting definition. A computer graphic which may be moved on screen and otherwise manipulated as a single entity. Well, that pretty much sums up how the demon is controlling our in-game characters. But in the first sprite test, we see all of our characters except for one, Melody, the character who's supposed to be Isabella, if Isabella had died. However, there is a second sprite test for that character. This second video is far more interesting as it shows some text talking about how Isabella survived and saw her mother burn. However, we are also given coordinates under this text, which is another cipher. Using hexadecimal to decode the coordinates, these codes translate into, "She saw what you did, Thomas." Again, another clue confirming that Isabella did in fact watch her father murder Arthur in the woods. Lastly, and I think this is the most fun aspect of the ARG, there is a hidden link on the itch.io page. In a body of text, there is a single exclamation point that is hyperlinked. When it is clicked, we are taken to another YouTube page with a familiar channel name, Logan Eastwood. Checking the description reveals to us a character in the real world that is connected to this game. I'm just a guy who likes playing video games, found an interesting old game on my great uncle's computer, thought I'd share it with you guys. Thomas has a bigger family than we thought. This great nephew named Logan has found Thomas's games and is playing through them, uploading recordings of the gameplay on his channel. But Logan has found another cutscene hidden in the game that we couldn't find, which includes another Caesar cipher, Let's take a look. When decoded, Peter Pumpkin tells Andy, "Don't ask for help, nobody can save you now." This confirms our theory that Thomas was possessed when he killed Arthur, and that Peter Pumpkin is trying to stop the trapped souls from reaching out for help from people playing the game, which now includes Thomas's great-nephew, Logan. The most recent video on the channel contains another mini-game left out of Andy's apple farm. This game would have been played after playing with Melody if the game hadn't jumped to a cutscene. Nothing is shown to us in this video unless you have closed captions on, which reveals a coded message at the end of the video in Morse code. After painstakingly punching in every fucking dot and dash, we get this message: "Help me, I want to help them. I want to save them. They're crying for help." The soul of Thomas isn't our regular bad guy. He's trying to find a way to get his family out of the game and out of the control of the demon. And since this gameplay was only shown when Logan played the game, this means that Thomas is reaching out to him for help. Which is where this ARG and the story ends for now. But there are some questions still left unanswered, like what happened to Isabella after the house fire in 1982? Where is she now? Who is Logan's parents, because one of them must be the sister or brother of Thomas? And who is the new B character that has appeared in the holiday special and in the Sprite Tests? I guess we'll have to wait until the next chapter is released for this story. For now, let me know what you think about Andy's apple farm down in the comments and share your findings in this ARG. And while you're down there, why not leave this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more content. With that, this has been Pagan Valley, and I wish you all a good evening.